So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you all for joining. First of all, let me thank Allah and let me thank Masjidullah for this opportunity to share. Our topic today is the nature of inner peace for humanity today. And I am Zayd Abdul-Karim. And before we start the presentation, I would really like to make this somewhat interactive to the extent that we can as people are coming on. I'd like to know where you're joining from and who you are. And as we go through, we'd love to get comments in the chat. Make this as interactive as possible. Any questions that you might have, we might get to them towards the end, but again, so let's make it as interactive as possible. So what does the human being want most of all? Is it the material things? Is it the bigger house, the bigger car, the more clothes, better clothes? Nothing wrong with these things, but having the best in the physical life is a good thing. But what is it that we want most of all? Alaikum assalam, Naseem. Thank you for being here. I believe the thing we want most is inner peace. And if you agree that you want inner peace, just type it in the chat. Peace. Peace. Thank you. So we'd like to start with the Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Tabarakalladhi biyadihi al-mulku wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. And a rendering or an expression of this is, blessed is the one in whose hands is the sovereign authority. Whatever exists, he rules it by his power and his regulation. He is the greatness of all power. He founded and originated creation without another preceding example after it was not existing. The death and the life, for the purpose of putting all of you to the test from within your own experience. Which of you behave more beautifully and more excellently as a worker? And he is the powerfully strong, the most forgiving. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. You know, by Allah's grace, we have 4 opportunities here to share. So today is going to be like the appetizer to our meal. And the next 2 sessions will be the main courses, and then we'll have some dessert in the 4th week, inshallah. But this idea, again, recognizing Allah's power and recognizing that our life is a test. And we've experienced many tests the last year or so. And the test in life are to see who will behave more excellently. The ultimate goal for humanity today is to achieve inner peace as a worker for God. Alaikum assalam, everybody. Welcome. Yes. Thank you, Hafiza. Peace. So in my research, I found a statement from the great reformer, Imam W.D. Muhammad, and he coined a phrase. I thought it really grabbed my attention. He said that peace is the lifeblood. Yes. And there's a lot more that he said, of course, in many lectures about peace, but this phrase, few words, but says a whole lot. So when we look up lifeblood, it's something that's within the body. And whether that body is a person, a family, a community, or a nation, it has a lifeblood. And lifeblood is necessary, indispensable factor or influence that gives something strength and vitality. The spark, essence of life. Even a business has a lifeblood. That's its working capital so that it can operate every day. So this idea of lifeblood is interesting. I mean, when you go to the doctor, what's the first thing the doctor does? Even before you see the doctor, the assistant is going to take your vital signs. Yes? Thank you. And your blood pressure to see how much balance you have in the lifeblood. And we know that clean blood is important for life and that there are diseases of the blood, like hepatitis, that can lead to cancer. So if peace is the lifeblood, then it gives the human being life. So what is the nature of this peace? And how do we develop it and how do we sustain it in the midst of life in 2021? So let's go to the divine guidance for direction and see where we might find that inner peace. A'udhu billah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وإذ قال إبراهيم ربي أرني كيف تحيي الموتى قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى ولكن ليطمئن قلبي. So this is Abraham. He asked a question. And I know most people, they read Yusuf Ali, so these expressions I give may be a little different from Yusuf Ali. One of the things that's most important for us is that we learn how to read the Quran for ourselves. And many of us, our lives have been transformed maybe on just one phrase that we got from the great reformer. You know, one phrase that got me in many things, but one that is one of those fourth Sunday hookups. I heard him say, learn to read the Quran for yourself. And that's what we've been trying to do. So here's a rendering for this verse about Ibrahim. It says, and when Abraham said, my guardian, evolver, sustainer, show me how you cause life to the dead. He said, do you not believe? Abraham responded, nay, rather that my heart will be still peaceful and satisfied. Now, this curiosity of Abraham about how does this Lord do this, the one who originated all life and sustains it all, not just human life, but animal life and vegetable life and life down deep in the sea and life in the sky, creates it all and gives it what it needs in order to sustain itself and to grow from stage to stage to reach its potential. Now, I don't know for you, but for me, that's a mind-blowing thing. And so Abraham is just, it's something we can't conceive. So he's just asking a question. My Lord, how do you do all of that? In all of the major religions, we claim Abraham. Yes. All of us, Muslims, Jewish, Christian, we are from the seed of Abraham. So we're taught that Abraham was a community of people devoted to God, and all of the messengers come from that line. And what does Abraham represent? A principle and an archetype. He represents the intellect. He represents obedience, rational intelligence, and obedient intellect. This is Abraham. And this is an attribute in all of us. All of us have Abraham in us. The key is whether or not we are using our human intellect correctly. So what are we taking into our intellect except it comes through our five senses? Unfortunately, we live in a world that has been corrupted. The intellect, the human intellect has been corrupted by falsehood and manipulated messages in the news, the music, on television, even in conversations with family and friends on Facebook. Now, are these communications guiding humanity to inner peace or to some type of conflict? What do you think? Do you see inner peace or do you see conflict and turmoil in the world? Put it in the chat. Again, for those who are coming on, we want to make this a little interactive. We'd love for you to use the comment, the chat section. We can go back and forth a little bit. And I'll be asking questions from time to time. So what do you see in the world? Do you see inner peace? Or do you see conflict? Just give me a sign, a peace sign or a conflict sign or what have you. But now the first thing that Abraham recognizes in this scene is his guardian, evolver, and sustainer, his Rabb, the one who's taking care of life. And he's recognizing him, that he is the one that moves the life. And he's asking to show him something because he's curious. See, the intellect wants to know, it wants to understand something. But it was not from disbelief. The obedient intellect believes and trusts its creator. But his heart was not satisfied because the intellect didn't know. So we see, yes, thank you. Habib, conflict. Hafiza, conflict. Khalil. Yes, major conflict throughout the world. That's because it's major conflict within the souls of the human being. Thank you all for commenting. So this inner peace is what the soul wants, and it's tied to our intellect and the heart. Again, bloodline, right? The heart pumps the blood through the body to all parts of the body. So this peace is the bloodline. And that's what the heart wants. So what is required to have that peaceful heart consistently, day in and day out? Well, let's look at another guidance. This is in the 28th surah. It says, Ya ayyuhan nafsu al-mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki. Sorry, this is not the, this is the 89th surah. Let me start over again. Ya ayyuhan nasu al-mutma'innatu irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. It says, pay attention. You know, whenever you see yeah, ayyuha, this is a evocative. It's designed to get your attention. It's like, attention. Oh, soul, the mutma'innatu, the satisfied and peaceful soul. You know, we have three aspects of our soul. It was a Ramadan session, Imam Rahimallahu alayhi, he taught about the three aspects of the soul. The satisfied, peaceful soul, the soul that is critical, and the soul that leads to evil. It wants to command and wants to be in charge. And the only way to get to peace is through that peaceful soul. and making that dominant in what it is that we are doing and the way we are being in the world. So it says, attention, O satisfied, peaceful soul, return to your guardian, evolver, sustainer, completely pleasing to him in a condition of acceptance and approval. Then immediately enter in my organization, in whatever their profession, those whom I have embraced among my workers. Then immediately enter into my garden, provided with trees, rivers, and fruits. This Jannah, this garden, when you look in Arabic dictionaries, you see the garden is defined as trees, rivers, and fruits. So this satisfied heart, the nature of it, the first is returning to the sustainer. We're not talking about the other side of life. This is everything in the Quran is for this side of life. And the loss and the fear that people experienced during the pandemic initially took a lot of people away. But I think people began to turn to God. You know, when you have this fear, this loss, all this unknown going on, people begin to turn back to God. And that's what the satisfied soul wants to do. But be in a condition where they are pleasing to the one who takes care of them. And that soul, to be at peace, it has to be approved by God. All of the things that we're taking in our senses, in our head, in our sight, in our hearing, and in our heart, are they the things that's approved by God? I mean, I don't know about you, but during Ramadan, I don't want to do anything but pray, fast, read the Quran, study. We want God's words to be flowing in us, flowing all over us, all through us, in our conversation. Something that's approved. And when Allah accepts us, then we can be pleased. We can be pleased with ourselves, because the soul, even, early on created, even before maybe physical form, the Quran tells us that Allah asked the soul, am I your Lord? And the soul said, yes, you are my Lord. You are my Rabb. So it seems that this acceptance and approval from God for this garden in this life is for those who are workers, who are working for God. The soul wants to work for God, and it testifies. And if the soul is working for anyone else, it's not going to be satisfied. It cannot be at peace. Now, is that true? Yes. If it's true, just type a yes in there. Let me know. Or type true. That as a soul, and this is what we are. God breathes into us of his spirit. And that's what gives us life. Right? And he tells us, وَنَفَخَ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِهِ وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. That we breathed into you of his spirit. And we made for you hearing and sight. And then a feeling in the heart. Why? That you may behave with gratitude. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. لَعَلَّكُمْ, that it's an expectation that you will behave with gratitude. I mean, if we just stop and just feel. You remember the story about the man who he met Allah. He was a worshiper for 80 years. And he met Allah, and Allah said, well, do you want to get into paradise by your deeds or by my mercy? And the man said, well, I want to get in by my deeds. He was a good worshiper for 80 years, a lifetime, 2 or 3 lifetimes. And so they put the man's deeds on one side of the scale, and he said, okay, I'm going to put one of my gifts to you, your eyesight, on the other side of the scale. Let's see which one is the heaviest. And when he weighed the two, the eyesight, the gift of eyesight was heavier than 80 years, a lifetime of worship. So the man said, oh, Allah, I want to get into heaven based on your mercy. Yes. And that's what it is required for us anyway. It's his mercy. But we get there. Again, he's given us this eyesight. He's given us the ability to hear. These are things that's in our head. But he also has given us the afidah in the heart, the feeling in the heart. See, I know people make emphasis, intellect. Yes, the spirit flows into us. We have our 5 senses. We take information from the senses into our conscious mind, which is the intellect. And that's where it begins. If we're not taking in, or if what we're taking in is not approved by God, then our intellect is going to be faulty. But what happens is, from that intellect, it moves down into the heart. We see it in the verse. And so the heart is so important. Again, the lifeblood. So we have to ask ourselves, I have to ask myself, am I working for God? Whatever the person's profession in, the soul wants to work for God. So what's your profession? You're a teacher? You're a doctor, a lawyer, you're a laborer, right? Ramadan Mubarak, yes. What is the connection between gardens, rivers, and trees to Jannah? Good question. I'm going to try to save some time toward the end to take questions, but this definition, okay, so I'm a Mali student, Muslim American Logic Institute. And what we have been taught, how to go into the Quran and do a grammatical analysis and to look up words in Arabic dictionaries. So when I looked up Jannah is defined as trees, rivers, and fruits. So this has everything to do with Jannah. And next week, inshallah, we're going to get further into identifying what those things look like in their nature, because that will inform us about what this Jannah is, what this paradise is in this life. Because the trees, the rivers, the fruits, they all are symbols. They represent something. So if you can hang with us, Habib, our love, then we hope we can answer some of that, go a little bit deeper into that, inshallah. Sound good? Give me a thumbs up or yes or something. So, what is your profession? You're an electrician, a painter, you're a mother, a father. What is it that you do? And I have to ask myself, as I ask you, are you working for God? Or are we just working for a paycheck? A pay that checks our human potential. They put you in a box in these jobs. And they don't want you to get out, but the soul is greater. So I ask myself, am I working for God? And what's the difference? Actions are judged by intention. Every soul will have that which it intended. So I took a job for money one time, and that's all I got. I got a lot of headaches. I didn't like the people I worked with. I couldn't trust them. I never felt like they accepted me. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? If you can relate to what I'm saying, just put in the chat. I can relate or something, because we are God's employees. Yes. And as a worker for God, a worker for Allah, then we get a bigger reward than those who don't work. It says they are commanded to immediately, you look at the language, they are working for God, but then immediately they're provided with this garden, these trees, these rivers, these fruits. And these are all seeds for the exploration of the nature of inner peace for humanity today. So I want to check in with you and just ask you, what kind of thoughts do you have so far about what we're discussing? What is resonating with you? Put them in the chat, please. Any ideas, any thoughts that's resonating with you so far? And I thank you for that. Before discussing these signs, I want to look at another guidance. So let me know. Thank you for that. Habib says he can identify. Got a thumbs up from Mark. Naseem definitely relates. So here's another guidance, because again, we're exploring this idea of the soul, this idea of inner peace in the soul. And it tells us, Surah Al-Baqarah, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَءُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Now, when you look at Yusuf Ali here, he says, he'll say something like, and from mankind, whoever sells his soul seeking the pleasure of Allah, and when I look at the word, it's a place of God's pleasure. And Allah, Ra'ufun, often translated, he is kind with his servants. But as I use the tools that we've learned to use, yes, thank you. Yeah, Ibrahim's the intellect. I looked this up, and what I saw is, it says, one who takes seriously the sale of his soul and pays the price has sought a place of Allah's approval. I'm going to say it again. One who takes seriously the sale of his soul and pays the price has sought a place of God's approval. Therefore, Allah, God, moves sadness and injury and misfortune from the people. So this word Ra'uf, on the way, often defined as kind with his servants, that when you look it up, it's defined as Allah is removing sadness. Kindness is Allah removing injury. Kindness is Allah removing misfortune from his servants. I don't know if you can feel that or not, but that becomes the outcome, the reward of those who have sold their soul to Allah. Yes. Would you agree that removing sadness, that sadness, injury, and misfortune keep people from inner peace? The guilt, the association, the shame, the fear, the loss, all those things. And maybe we have to experience some sadness. Maybe life is such we have to experience some injury, some misfortune, right? Because when we experience these things, we turn to Allah. Oh, Allah, when comes the help of God, right? And it says, the help of God is always near. So it's interesting, the context behind this particular verse. It was revealed about one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who wanted to accept al-Islam. He wanted to accept the peaceful submission to Allah and migrate from Mecca to Medina. And the people of Mecca would not let him take his property with him. Now, I don't know what his property was. Maybe he had a lot of money, horses, camels, sheep, houses, I don't know, whatever. It must have been a lot, though, and it must have been useful to the community because they wanted to keep his property. You can go, but we're keeping your property. So he decided to leave his riches and migrate for Allah. And this reflection that we just read is a reminder of the praiseworthy character of the believers. It contrasts the clear blameworthiness of hypocrites. So it's important that we do reflection in order to learn. So I have to ask myself, invite you to ask yourself, would you give up all your property and possessions to walk 272 miles from one city to another city and do that for God? Khalil, how far is Medina from Mecca? I'm saying 272. I might not have a number right, but we know. And then walking all that distance with nothing and facing the unknown. I mean, that looks to me, that's real faith. And then this verse was revealed, right? That he sold his soul to Allah. But he paid a price. The price was giving up all of his wealth, all of his possessions. Too many today are too tied to their material possessions to take such a leap of faith that this soul did. You know? Hypocrisy, right? Is it? Why do you say that which you do not do? We have to check ourselves, you know. I mean, even Abu Bakr said he wouldn't feel like he was guaranteed paradise if he had one foot in paradise. And he was one of the best of the companions. So what is this blameworthiness? And again, partly today we're looking at what's not inner peace, because sometimes it's important to see what something is not in order to see what something is. Yes. 258. I'm reading that right. 250 miles. Yeah, it's a long walk. So Abu Hurairah reported that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings upon him, said, among the signs of a hypocrite are three. Even if he fasts and prays and claims to be a Muslim. What are those three things? When he speaks, he lies. That's a big one. When he gives a promise, he breaks it. And when he is trusted, he betrays it. And this is from sources of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. So, dear brothers and sisters, we've got to reflect on our thoughts and our actions. I have to reflect on my thoughts and my actions. The first one here, when he speaks, he lies. Is our speech truthful? You know, most importantly, and this is something I don't know that people are really willing to do, but the question is, Are you truthful with yourself? I have to ask myself, am I truthful with myself? Have I done my absolute best today? And be truthful with myself. Am I being truthful with other people? Are we being truthful with Allah, right? Sincerity. Religion is sincerity, yes? To Allah, right? To the people, to yourself. Did you know that sincerity and truthful speech and deeds are part of the definitions of faith? Yes. And integrity, too, is part of the definitions of faith. It's not just saying I'm this or I'm that. That's just lip service. Right? Everything of these three things really falls under integrity, keeping the word. So the second one, when he gives a promise, he breaks it. So guess what I'm saying? What I'm saying, this first one here, the lies cannot lead to inner peace. It's outside of the law. And we've read in Surah Al-Baqarah about, really early on tells us two types of people. It's those who are the muttaqeen, those who are conscious, their regard for of Allah, they're conscious. And that's who the guidance is for. But then there are also those who cover and hide the truth. Whether you warn them or you don't warn them, they're not going to believe. They're not going to be obedient and trusting. Because in their hearts is a disease, and Allah increases that disease. Right? And they try to deceive Allah and the believers, but they only deceive themselves, and they're not aware of it. Because they are liars. And we live in a world that's full of this everywhere you turn. Outside of the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet, and those of us who Allah blesses to practice this way in this way of life in the best way that we can only practice it if He lets us. I chose Islam for ourselves. Allah chose this for us. Right? Completing the favor for humanity. He chose you. And you chose Him. And that's where our peace comes from. I mean, even the word al-Islam is the peace. But sometimes it's easier said than done in this world that we live in. So, if I can just, if we can just be truthful and not lie to ourselves, confess our shortcomings to Allah. This month, these are the days of mercy. This is the time to beg Allah and confess to Him alone. You have to confess to nobody else. He knows already what your condition is. But these days, how many people did we lose between last Ramadan and this Ramadan, y'all? I just got a message early today. One of our brothers, I won't mention his name or his wife's name because you know them, but they lost a child. How? Right? But you still here. He's giving you another opportunity today. Tomorrow's not guaranteed to us. Right? How many of y'all can you feel His mercy? His mercy to you. If you can feel what's coming through, type mercy in there. Yeah. Got to be grateful. And let's speak the truth, even if it's against our own self. The second one here, when He makes a promise, He breaks it. Again, it's keeping your word. Even on the little things, y'all, right? If you say, I'm going to, we're going to meet at, yes, mercy. If we say we're going to meet at 10 o'clock a.m., then let's show up on time, not be late. That's part of integrity. That's part of your faith. It's showing up on time. Don't make excuses. Oh, well, CP time, right? Or whatever. No. The little things make a big difference. And the late, great football champion, coach Vince Lombardi, said, if you are 5 minutes early, then you're already 10 minutes late. Excuse me. If you're 5 minutes early, you're already 10 minutes late. It's not enough to just show up on time. It's about being early. Now, we're still talking about inner peace, right? So this third one, when he is trusted, he betrays it. We surely want to avoid the blameworthiness of hypocrisy. And we have the example of this person who sold their soul to Allah and paid the price. See, normally we think about selling something, it's like you sell something, somebody buys it and they give you money, right? But no, this is a different situation. We are selling our soul to Allah and we're paying for it too. But man, look at the reward, right? Because those who do that, he removes sadness from them. Even the worst of things, it can be sad. That's human to be sad, but he can remove that sadness from them. Because maybe the relationship didn't go the way you thought, or business didn't go how you planned it, right? Whatever happened, he can remove it. He can remove the injury. You fall down, you hurt your back. Allah removes that in any misfortune. So I ask myself, am I willing to sell my soul to Allah in order to have peace? Let me not get too far in my notes. Follow the notes. So there's a purified report, right? There was a man who was a martyr. And he met, and you all know these things, right? He met Allah and he said, I fought the battles in your path, Allah. Allah said, you have lied. You fought so people would say that you were brave. And so it was said, you'll be dragged in hell on your face. The great reformer, Imam W.D. Muhammad, rahimallahu alayhi, taught us that the face is symbol for character. And isn't the lack of character, honesty, and integrity that puts people in hell in this life? Way far away from inner peace. Yes. Next is a man who was generous. He said he gave generously in Allah's cause. Allah said, you've lied. You gave so people would say that you were generous. And so it was said, and you'll be dragged on your face in hell. The third was the man who was a reader of the Quran. He said, I read the Quran for your sake, Allah. Allah said, you've lied. You read so people would say that you were a good reader. And so it was said, you will be dragged on your face in hell. So, man, I really got to reflect all the time. Why am I doing this? Is it really for Allah? Or is it to be seen by people? And now, if we read the verse, يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسَ لَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. That those who want to be seen by the people, they do not remember Allah except a little teeny bit. Yeah. Selfishness, the ego's out of control. Now that's okay for a little kid. That's not okay for us. I mean, that's what took Iblis. Iblis, Allah had given him an order. Prostrate before Adam, Iblis refused. And he thought he was bigger that arrogance. And that's what made him a kafirin. And that's their program, and they are our enemies. It doesn't matter what's on the surface, what's the substance, the character. And those who are hiding and covering the truth that are ungrateful, that's their program. But our program is gratitude. Our program is humility. That's what begins to put us on the path to this inner peace. The one who takes seriously the sale of his soul and pays the price has sought a place of God's approval. Therefore, God removes sadness, injury, and misfortune from the people. So, what is this price? What is the price that we have to pay? A lot of questions. What are the places that God approves of? Where is the place of God's approval? I'm just asking a question. I'm interested what you think. What is the price that we have to pay? Is it just saying I'm a Muslim? Is that it? What is the price for God's approval and this peace that comes with that, this protection that comes with that? Yeah. You ever had Allah remove some sadness from you? Some grief, some trouble in your life? Mm-hmm. What was it? Let's remember. And going back to that purified report, these were people that were doing some of the best of deeds. But it has something to do with character. So let me move then I'm just looking at my notes here. All of us, Allah has removed some sadness from us. And, things turned around in a way that we can't even explain. He put this together and that happened and this person showed up and you went over this place and then things were different. You were relieved. But you don't know how. I don't know how it happened. I can't explain it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. He says he will help you from places that you can't even imagine where the help's going to come from. So this idea of moving in right action and being the best of devotees, key. So I was going to try to, manage my time here, but it looks like we're going to have to get into some of your question around what the trees and rivers and such have to do. Please, if you have some questions, let's put your questions in the chat. I'm going to begin to share now some of these definitions that I got about peace. Because, in definition is direction. Well, again, one of those phrases, right? In definition is direction. And I would add that in the direction is the destiny. So this idea of peace, when I looked it up, safety, security, that's peace. But we're talking, we want to feel safe and secure out in the world. Right? And sometimes it's hard. If you don't have faith, you don't have Allah with you. Sometimes, things you see or things happen in the world. Of course, they broadcast all this stuff on the news all the time. Why they got to show George Floyd over and over and over and over again? Don't you know that's Shaitan's people trying to keep you stuck in what's false. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but again, I don't even want to keep talking about, but those images that are put in front of us all the time, they're not designed to give us peace. They're not designed to help us feel safe and sound and secure. But this is what faith is. And free, faultless, blameless, unimpaired. That faith is a doorway as part of opening good health and well-being and vitality. So now, again, we're back to the statement that peace is the lifeblood. Faith is a door that opens up to well-being. Faith is an extraordinary, it's an exceptional energy. You know, people that don't have faith, we see them moping around, or maybe, you know, their circumstances, or they turn to alcohol and become an alcoholic and stumbling around in the street. There's a lack of faith. Faith is defined as the freedom within that comes from loyalty and inner faithfulness. Faith is a faithful heart. You know, it's freedom from corruption from within. And ultimately, it gives calmness to the heart. Now, it would do us good to take a few minutes and contemplate these definitions. And as I said, then which ones resonate with you? Which of these definitions resonate with you? Safety, security, sincerity, truthfulness, integrity. Faithful heart, calmness in the heart. These are all different definitions of faith. And again, looking at the nature, there's certain images and feelings that go along with peace. I'm sorry, we're defining peace. Yes, the freedom from within. My mind went to faith. Peace and faith. Do they go together? You think? Yeah, I think so. So what are some feelings that correspond with these ideas of peace? And the language, Quranic language, it tells us the outcomes of peace. Peace within oneself, it makes one to stand up, stand out. It makes humanity safe from disease, damage. You know, the lifeblood, right? When the blood is diseased, it's a problem. Well, when our heart is diseased away from peace, it's a problem. That Allah is the source of peace, and His peace keeps creation from defects. The home of peace is in the presence of your guardian, evolver, sustainer. So where do we see this satisfied, peaceful stillness in nature? So we can begin to get a hint of inner peace, because everything that's outside of us in the creation is also inside of us. Yes? Thank you. So an example in nature is a river. It's a natural, physical symbol of peace and stillness. So the intellect asks, what is the origin of rivers, and how do they grow and flow? And where do they lead to? Because if we can understand it in nature, then we can also understand it within ourselves. Yes? Let me know. I mean, the first revelation, right? The first revelation. Read. In the name of your Lord, your Rabb who created. You read in the creation, but also read within ourselves. So every river has a source. And the river begins its journey. Some rivers begin in mountains or hills. The rainfall hits it. Most snow collects, is melted, and forms these channels. And the channels are small, but they grow. And the streams become big enough to form a river. Other rivers begin in underground springs, and others begin as lakes. And on the way down the mountain, the water shapes the landscape by wearing away rock and carving out networks of valleys and reaching the lower ground. And most rivers empty into a sea, but they're satisfied in their role as rivers. So how might this apply to us as human beings? I want to hear from you all. What do you think? Does a peaceful heart mean it observes, pays attention, contemplates, causes to flow like a river? How does a river it originates from mountains, originates with the rain? Right? What does it have to do with a human being? What is a mountain? What is the mountain in a person that causes the blood to flow through the heart like a river? Maybe you don't have an answer. I don't say I have answers. In fact, I don't say that I have the answer for any of it. I'm just saying this is what I see. And the idea, is it possible that the spiritual energies that flows, that the streams of energy, spirit flows into the conscious mind? And that this thought, this intellect, this ideas is part of this mountain. This water flows. And it flows down into the subconscious mind, into your feeling mind, to your heart. Is it possible that it forms rivers of emotions? Some people define emotion as energy in motion. We can have all the intellectual understanding, all the intellectual talk we want, but until it reaches our heart, we're not going to move. The Quran was revealed on the heart. Yes? So, in the heart, moving like a rapid flowing river that widens the pathways, turning our hearts and eventually emptying into our behaviors. And all type of creatures feed off of the contents from these behaviors. And it's a benefit to human beings. Yes. I want to see, we've got way more time than I think I need, but I want to see what kind of questions you all have. I have some more definitions here, really for peace and these notes. If I go back to the verse, right? In Surah 89, it talks about Radia, Mardiya. So this is one of these words associated with peace and divine writing is radia, and the other is sakana. So what is radia? You know, we say, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an dhalika al-fawzul adhim. The pleasure of Allah. And they are pleased also. This radia is satisfaction. It's acceptance. Radia is agreeable with life and what's pleasurable. This is where our peace is. Can satisfaction flow like a river? Can we accept what Allah has given us and be satisfied with that? Because if we can, then we can have inner peace. And second, to be still, become tranquil, right? When you look at a river, doesn't it look, there's some that just look still. And then there's some rivers that are running. You know, they're moving you from one destination to another destination. Aren't our emotions like that? Inwardly, can we be still in our emotions? Can we have positive emotions that lead us and move us from one place to another? Absolutely. You know? And we can be peaceful and tranquil. You know, being tranquil, talking about the nature now, inner peace. Being tranquil is having a certainty about things. It's a certainty of things after being in motion. It's described as like settling down in a residence. You know, if you've moved, things are a little unstable, but you find a place and you can settle down. Yeah, within yourself. And the characteristics of this tranquility is a sense of presence, the presence of God. The plural of tranquility is a stillness which is for the purpose of you calming down. We just need to calm down, y'all, you know, and have this peaceful at night and in the day. What are the tools that we have? We've been given tools to use that will spark that peace within. You know, the sakina is settled in the heart and the mind and the soul. I mean, what do we have? We have fasting, we have zikr, we have the Quran, we have the salah. And the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah, is the greatest. It's greater than anything. So we presented some ideas. What are your thoughts? What are you taking away from this portion today? Let me hear from you. If you have some questions, put in the chat. We have more verses, we have other things, but at this point, I just, I don't want to just be talking at you. I want to have some type of exchange with you. Any questions, any comments? I don't see any. I know Fred, he made the main statement right here. Alhamdulillah. This is the statement. Mercy. Marvin Gaye just came in my head. Mercy, mercy me. And part of it is, how do we just keep ourselves in that frame of mind? We want to have peace. Whatever you focus your attention on, that is exactly what's going to come up in your life. If we focus in on peace, being peaceful, that's what's going to show up. If we focus in on everything else out in the world, everything that's confusion, then we won't have peace. So if there are no questions or comments, then we can take ourselves off to the next activity. Those who in the East Coast preparing for iftar, what have you. Inshallah, we have a couple of other presentations to give related to this, some ideas to share. And just to kind of recap, this notion of inner peace, it comes for those who are workers for God, workers for Allah. And maybe, as they say, I'm singing to the choir right now. Because we are here, you are here, and we are God's workers in this world. I see my friend Kafi. Assalamu alaikum, Kafi. Good to see you here. Ramadan Mubarak. Latifa, assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Allah reward you for sharing. May Allah thank you. May Allah reward all of us. It's real important. It's pretty important that we keep our focus on God, especially nowadays. And, Allah gave us a mission, y'all. Habib, thank you, brother. It's by Allah's design that we were trained by the great reformer, M.W.D. Muhammad, Rahimallahu alayhi. And, we were chosen for this mission. And this mission is, what did he say? Remake the world, right? That's what our job is, to remake the world with what we've been given. And people are in this world, they are begging and crying for what we have. And it's our obligation and duties to do our best. I'm reminded of the verse in Surah to Ibrahim, where he says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alif Lam Ra. Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka لتخرج الناس من الظلمات إلى النور بإذن ربهم إلى صراط العزيز الحميد. Sadaqallahu Azim. It says, Kitabun, it's an education. This book is an education, and we sent it to you, talking to Muhammad, for the purpose that you would bring the humanity from the darknesses to the light, from the darknesses of foolishness and ignorance into the light of the divine guidance and prosperity. by the volition and the will of their Rabb. See, it's Rabb still here, this evolver, sustainer, to a path of power and pray that's praiseworthy. Now, doesn't that sound like transformation to you? It does to me. I don't say I'm right. I just say that's how I see it. So if this was the prophet's mission, to bring the humanity out of the darknesses into the light, then isn't it also our job? Isn't it our purpose? And in order to remake the world and to cause a transformation, don't we have to remake our words? Because our words are our world. And it's the words, it's Allah's words. Right? It's Allah's words. So we have to learn, and we have to share. So thank you all very much. Alhamdulillah. I hope that you have benefited from this conversation. Anything that's come out that's been good and useful, it's Allah's. It's from Him. The mistakes that I've made, I attribute to myself. And I'd like to close this with a dua. One of the students sent me this, and I'd like to make a couple of duas. First, Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmah. Wa hayyi lana min amrina rashada. Our guardian, evolve and cherish and sustainer. Give us from your presence a mercy and direct our affairs in the right way. And for Ramadan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala record your name among those who will be forgiven. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of your du'as and widen your provision with lots of blessings. Ameen. May Allah, glory to Him, grant you the strength to fulfill our obligations to the best of our ability and confirm our entry into the highest rank of Jannah by His mercy. Ameen. May Allah remove all of our difficulties and ease all of our tasks. Ameen. May Allah answer from His infinite mercy all that you and I and all of us need and ask for, from the dreams of our hearts to the prayers of our lips, to our every expectation and aspiration that we have. Ameen. May Allah protect and guide you and keep you safe. Guide us all and protect us and keep us safe from all calamities. Ameen. May Allah grant us success and elevate our status in both this world and the next. Ameen. May Allah grant you a good livelihood and fill you with His light. Ameen. May Allah grant you and your family good health and strength and a long and prosperous life. Ameen. May Allah remove all difficulties and ease your tasks. May Allah make us a shining example of true Muslim life and an inspiration for others too. May Allah accept all of your fasting and your worship and your dhikr, your sadaqah, your prayers, and all of your good deeds during this blessed month. And may Allah accept this dua and accept the best from us. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka anta as-sami'ul alim. Our guardian, evolver, cherisher, sustainer, please accept this from us, for surely you are the hearer and the knower of all things. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu salam ala Muhammadin abduhu. Ameen. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak.